My previous video explained why you should record every financial transaction. So in this video, I'm explaining exactly how to do that, specifically with expenses. We already established that we are using Google Spreadsheets to log our data. So create your Google account, open Google Drive, and create a new folder and spreadsheet. But before we start entering data, we have to decide what expense categories to create. For example, some of mine are housing utilities, transit, food, and eating out. You need to decide what categories to have and then list them from most expensive to least expensive. Generally, I recommend having more categories when you first start so you can really pinpoint where your money is going. This is why I don't combine food and eating out. Eating out is more leisurely and expensive, while a grocery store trip is the opposite. The same idea exists with housing versus utilities. I don't like combining them. My utilities are pretty inflexible. Even if I move to another apartment, my monthly bills will likely not change much, but my rent payment could change if I opt for a cheaper apartment. Basically, this helps you figure out which expenses are elastic and which are inelastic. Elastic expenses are ones that you can reduce to save money. Think of buying drinks at the bar, eating out, or in the long term, rent. You can change those expenses based on the decisions you make. Inelastic expenses are ones that you can't change readily. Think of internet bills, electricity bills, a transit pass, or healthcare insurance. You need these things to survive, and there isn't much sense in trying to cut these expenses. You'll just get frustrated living in a cold apartment without internet. For inelastic expenses, it's best to manage them as you can, but focus most of your attention on the things you can cut back on. So now that you have your categories, we can set up your spreadsheet. This is how mine is laid out. Each category has a box, and I input the information. At the bottom is a total that adds it all up. Of course, you can play around with the colors, borders, and styles to your heart's desire. This is your spreadsheet after all. There are 4 things I track in my boxes. A description of the transaction. You can be as specific or vague as you want. The date it happened. The amount. And how that transaction took place. For me, that means debit or credit card. I denote a credit card transaction in orange, but you can think of other ways to show that. This step is more up to user preference. Each category has its own box and they are listed vertically. At the bottom, a total expenses tallies up all the money you spent in the month. The last piece of this spreadsheet is a quick view of each category total. These just have the total amount you spent this month, no other information. This provides a quick view of all of your expenses. They are linked up to the boxes so that you only have to input the data once. At the end of the month, we are going to copy and paste this column into another spreadsheet that tracks our spending for the entire year. So at the end of the year, you will have 13 spreadsheets, one for each month and one for the entire year. Now you can easily see how much money you spent on each category, each month and over time. We will use this data to plan our spending in the future, but that will come in another video. My next video will be about recording your income, so subscribe, I guess.